My name is Allen Batts, and this is my wife, Carol. We've been married for 34 years in January of this year, and we've been in Reno since 2001.
After we moved here to Reno, we got started at Grace and felt totally at home. The most important thing that happened at Grace and that happened for us was getting everybody involved in small groups. And I know for me personally, I have to say that between my husband helping me with a lot of questions that I have from time to time and the church and the small groups, I don't know where I would have been without all of that. That gave us some of the strength and some of the knowledge that we needed to get through what happened with us about 5 years ago when our older daughter got into the world of addiction, the world of drugs.
It was just a very challenging time for both of us, and you know the truth is that I personally got to a point that I had to release my daughter to God and just realize that there was nothing I could do for her.
I think the world of addiction is the world of Satan, and what I saw Ashley go through was something I couldn't believe I could see in my own daughter. And I think the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life was to tell my daughter that she couldn't come home. I hope I never have to go through anything like that again, but I have to say that was the hardest thing for me in my life.
And there were a lot of times when I just didn't have any clue how to even communicate with Ashley or to support her, but I knew God knew how to, and I knew He had created her, He had wired her up, He knew what she needed, and He knew what she needed from me.
We feel amazingly blessed that we had a happy ending to our story with Ashley, and she made a decision one day to stop the drugs, and she never looked back. And 5 years now into it, and she works with us every day in our business, and she's an amazing young woman. We couldn't be any more thrilled with her. So ours had a happy ending, and boy did we learn from it. Boy did we learn some things God was trying to teach us and help us to learn. The night of November 18th, we had 2 Bible studies actually going on in our home. And it was a very cold night, a very cold winter night. We had both fireplaces going upstairs and down, and just the warmest atmosphere in the whole house. It was just amazing. We had wonderful discussions, as it turned out, in both groups. And we were there a little longer than we normally would be. And I just remember coming downstairs and just, I don't think I've ever looked at my home the way I did that night. It was just warm.
We went to bed and trying to get some sleep, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, the humidifier that we have in our bedroom went off because the power went off in the house. And that was what woke Carol up first, and then shortly thereafter she made sure I was awake.
I opened the shades, and all I could see was orange smoke blowing over the top of our home. I ran to the back window and looked up the hill and could see the flames up at the very top of the hill. And so I went and I woke Alan up, and I said, we need to get out of here. And I took him back to the window and showed him, and I said, I think we've got a little time. He said, don't forget about the wind. The wind is a factor, Carol. We don't have much time. We need to get our things and go.
Well, at that point we went downstairs and went out onto the front porch, and as soon as I stepped out onto the front porch, the smoke was almost overwhelming. And so from there, the only thought I had in my mind, I mean absolutely singular thought, was smoke inhalation. Backed out, and as we were pulling away, I could see a giant fireball coming down the hill between our home and the neighbor's home.
said he just thought in his head, God, you're doing something big here tonight. And we had no clue that we would not be able to return to our home.
We left and went to our office, which is north of town, and we just set up camp at our office and waited to see what was going to happen.
We got a call from a neighbor who lived down below us about 5:30 that morning. He said, "It's not good, Carol." And I said, "George, when you look up at my house, what do you see?" And he said, "Nothing. There's nothing there."
I got a call on my cell phone from one of the people that are in our home fellowship group, and he's a fireman for the city of Sparks. And as it turned out, he was on the truck that showed up at our house less than 20 minutes after we left, and the house was completely ablaze at that point in time. And he told me that he was standing in front of the house and that the house had burned completely to the ground.
Some of the people that were in our home that night when we were having our meetings showed up at our office about 6:30 or so in the morning. We were in the same clothes we had on that night and looked like we'd been drugged through something, but one of the guys in our Bible study came in, his pajamas under his clothes, and just sat with us with a big smile on his face for 2 hours. I swear he never left our side, and he smiled the whole time.
But just to have people around you that love you, you love them, they are there to support you, and they have the knowledge and the resources that are necessary to support you. It's not just people showing up and putting their arm around you and say, I love you, which is important, but people that can say, I love you and I'm going to walk with you.
The support we've had has been incredible, and people ask us what we need. Well, we need just about everything, but as far as the house goes, but nothing that we have to have right now except the love that everybody's shown us, and I truly feel like that has helped so much in being able to get through something that most people can't even imagine. If you can't find God in every situation that He allows you to go through, and if you can't praise Him in all things, which is sometimes extremely hard to do, and if you can't tell the story, then the world sees a very small God.
The good news is every time we go through something that we think is tough, it does give us a much bigger view of God. And over the last 10 years or so, God has just, He hasn't changed, but in our world, He is just so much bigger than the God that we used to think about. God is here. He's in control, and He's doing whatever He chooses to do, and we know that it's going to be okay.